Many investigators discovered similar effects in the field of wave interactions. In this regard, we would like to mention entomologist Victor Grebennikov and Dr. Wagner, where the last one discovered the plant's grow using the staining waves interactions and even the gravity to transfer the sap upwards to its branches. Dr. Wagner discovered that tree may decrease the local gravitational pull up to 30% to deliver the sap. In the same manner, entomologist Grebennikov discovered the cavity structure effect in the vicinity of bees' nests, flowers, and other natural creations that would emit certain types of waves to communicate, navigate, notify, and even levitate. In his book My World and others have mentioned that insects would locate their nest picking up the wave emission from their nest even if it's hidden behind the thick wall of a building. He had stated that bumblebee would hover right in front of its nest, hidden behind the thick obstacle like the wall, being able to pick up the frequency of the nest emits. Flowers attract insects by emitting strong CSE waves when blooming. He suggested one to discover that field himself by placing hands over the flower and experiencing tingling sensation in palms. Well, we may assume that those waves get particularly concentrated in blossoming flower for certain reasons, such as to attract insects. On the other hand, Dr. Wagner measured the frequencies, speeds, and wavelengths of plants that were named as CSE by Grebennikov. He had also concluded that the same waves are responsible for planets' orbit creation as well as rings around some planets and location of its satellites. Dr. Wagner has mentioned in his research for these waves to use as a propulsion for space exploration in future spacecraft developments. In this regard, Grebennikov has claimed to have built the gravity control platform, which he would utilize to explore entomological parks where he would pick up insects and plants for his research. He'd claimed to build one and was able to transport himself with speeds over 1,000 miles an hour. We could have dismissed this claim as for a fantasy, yet some testimonials are of great interest, as they correlate with similar description where it comes to messing up with gravity. In one particular instance, entomologist described time dilation effect while in operation. Wristwatch seemed to change its time. Other, even more fantastic things happen when collected insects regress backwards in time to its previous phase of metamorphosis. Grebennikov wasn't specific on data when it comes to measuring, or at least it wasn't published officially, when on the other hand, Wagner has conducted numerous experiments on measuring those waves. He calculated quite a specific speeds in trees to be 96 centimeters per second and relatively low frequencies associated with it. He called them the surface wave velocities. He also found that the same velocities are detected in close proximity to the solar system bodies such as Sun and its planets. The calculated surface waves velocities are for Jupiter 10.1 meters per second, Saturn 25 meters per second, Uranus 10.4, Neptune 7.6. Uranus apparently gave outstanding results because the rings are so close together. The whole thickness seemed to be oscillating, and the answer for the surface wave velocity seemed reasonable without any modification. Notice that the surface wave velocities don't seem to depend much on the planet distance from the Sun. This makes sense if we consider each planet a separate entity, which collects dark matter due to its own gravity. In plants, wave velocities are functions of the orientation of the planet part with respect to the gravitational field, with vertical velocities the largest. The velocities increase in steps as the angle of the plant part with the horizontal increases to the vertical. Similar effects may be presented around planets, but we have only been dealing with the vertical velocity so far. The shape of plants seems to be determined by the ratio of the vertical/horizontal velocities, since plane space and apparently are determined by the wavelengths. The horizontal velocity of waves traveling between planes appeared to be near 25 meters per second on each on Earth with its air atmosphere. This velocity led me, he claims, to believe the waves were traveling in another medium besides air. There are no other media around to support such velocities, so dark matter was a candidate he could not ignore. He attempted to find surface velocities directly so that he could calculate how much material about the rocky core was oscillating. In some cases, the information might help to determine the rocky core thickness. He wished to find actual thickness, which actual surface velocities would permit one to do. It appeared, however, that all planets tend to collect and concentrate dark matter around them, no matter what distance they are from the Sun. The derived surface velocities may somewhat larger for planets further from the Sun, indicating smaller dark matter densities. There is not as great a chance, however, as would it be indicated by the change in dark matter density due to the presence of the Sun alone. On the Earth's surface, he studied wave systems other than planets. This also may be dark matter oscillations. For example, he filled 12-inch diameter level plastic pipes half full with water and placed a thin layer of sawdust on the water surface and closed the pipe. After a few days, the floating sawdust separated into what appeared to be a wave pattern with nodes and antinodes. Another experiment was slowly rotating a thin layer of granular material in a glass tubes of different diameters. The granular material produced a wave pattern with larger separations of nodes for larger diameter tubes. He did the latter before he found out that physicists had made this phenomenon a field of physics. Another source of waves is an oscillating vacuum tube. He used a 6L6 concentric nodes were observing going away from the tube. His oscillating frequencies were in the hundreds of kilohertz, with wavelengths of many meters. The concentric nodes were separated by a few centimeters, no matter what the operating frequency, perhaps indicating the excitation of dark matter. He searched many phenomena looking for possible manifestation of dark matter waves on Earth. He wanted to pose a question that he would like someone to answer, since no one has ever discovered gravity waves except that they are supposedly emitted by pulsars. Could dark matter waves explain the so-called emissions of gravity waves from pulsars? For more data on his research, you may check out his website, darkmatterwaves.com. Although both scientists are already deceased now, they were great researchers that were brave enough to take an unusual approach in their field of interest. And as it turned out, they have pertained the common field, both exploring that which can liberate the society of the planet, as well as purifying the surface from the parasitic control and accompanying technologies that follow. For now, thanks for thinking. Leave your likes or comments below, and subscribe for new updates on the subject.